disability advocacy and research is all fun and games until your disability, which is the reason why you even got started in this in the first place, actually disables you. I'm so out of breath. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Isa, and I am going into my third year of my PhD program studying communication from a disability justice lens. I specifically look at questions of how people with disabilities organize and work together in responses to the systems that fail us. And as part of that, so much of my work centers around this concept of crip theory, an opportunity when we care for a disabled body as like people ourselves and as a system, that it provides us an opportunity to question how the world has to be and gives us an ability to envision a better future. I love that. I'll advocate for that. I'll advocate for people not to push them past their limits. But today I am so out of breath because I have been pushing myself past my limit. And this week I had to make a really hard decision about some research that I was supposed to be conducting this summer. And I'm devastated because I had to listen to my body and make a really hard decision. And I just want to talk about that and talk about all the stuff that led up to it. I don't normally talk about my health on this channel. But there's just so much, there's the part of me that advocates for people to embrace crip time and making the clock work for them and not trying to make their disabled bodies work for the clock. But there's also the other part of me that feels like, but I need to be working to the clock and I need to be performing at this high level, especially because of my disability and because there's this innate fear of constantly being a bad investment, and it's decisions like this that make me feel like I may be a bad investment. Anyway, I'm gonna break all of this down in the video and just kind of give you a update about what's been going on and how I've made the decision and where we're at. So a little bit about the research. Next week I was supposed to leave to go today at a camp to do an ethnography looking at how kids with disabilities communicate with each other about their disabilities in a place that is fully accessible. I was looking at stigma and trying to envision what a future might be in the context of an accessible world. I was very, very excited about this project. It was over a year in the works. I had to get approval from the organization. I had to work with the organization to get communicated with my university to get IRB approval. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff, especially since I have a very high-risk population, that there's just so many steps that I had to do. And I was very, very excited for this project. I have been slowly collecting supplies. I bought a new suitcase. But this last weekend, I'll go into all of the details there, but this last weekend it just became evident that I'm not going to be able to make it. And a story time on that I want to provide a brief trigger warning is I'm going to be talking about periods while trying to get this stuff taken care of. My periods started getting really, really bad. They've always been bad, but very bad. And I had tried to see a doctor last summer who was very kind of dismissive, and I'd been trying to see doctors on and off for the last couple of years. It just hadn't gotten as bad. I've bled for 3 months straight. And when I saw a doctor last summer, they're just kind of well, an IUD. And I'm for multiple reasons, I'm very uncomfortable with you just trying to throw an IUD at me or birth control without listening to my concerns. Because every time I've had birth control, it's made things so much worse. I got through the school year, it was rough. And then towards the end of the spring semester, I went to a new doctor or nurse practitioner who is very, she talked with me for over an hour about all of my concerns. She promised to work with me through this birth control, and she did. And the only thing is the birth control, guess what, made things so much worse. And instead of making worse in the ways that it had done previously, it went that my anemia went from we were talking about, all right, we need to change your diet, here's some iron pills, to you need an infusion, to let me call, she advocated for me to get into the hematologist quicker because my appointment was so far away and I had multiple periods between then and there. And when I went to the hematologist was so we're not here yet, but I need you to be aware of how close some things could be to getting a blood transfusion instead of an iron infusion if you let things go. Dude, I've been trying the amount of spinach and steak and everything while also being kind of broke I've been trying to eat is just a lot. There's a lot that's happening all the time, and all the while, because I am bleeding so much and my hormones are all over the place, I just also, like, my poor advisor was like, hey, you were really okay at one point, and then next thing I know, you're, like, very much not okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just having hormonal issues, and I have mood disorder, and, like, it's just making everything so much worse. We're trying to stop my periods overall. I have the iron infusion scheduled. The first iron infusion is next Tuesday, and I was supposed to leave Saturday, and you don't start feeling better until at least your second one. And I have 3 scheduled. So I was going to do an iron infusion before I left, an iron infusion when I got back, and then 1 week later. But it's just been so much, and I've basically been bedridden all summer, been so sick, and I just feel horrible. The meds that I've been on, the birth control, the metformin have all just, like, made it food very difficult for me to, like, find things that aren't going to make me want to throw up, and also, like, support my new dietary needs, that I need to have more red meats, and I also need to, like, reduce carbs and stuff and replace it with multigrain, and I'm trying to buy, like, protein-based items because I'm really bad about protein, and you need lots of protein on metformin, but at least my B12 is normal, because I did go on the supplement, and that is the one thing that has worked this summer. Anyway, last week I went and saw my best friends, and when I came back, it was rough from that. And it was just, like, we were in AC. We were doing a lot of stuff, but it was, like, mostly AC. I could be like, hey, I'm not feeling good. Let's take a break, that kind of stuff. And it was the most I had done all summer. And still, my friends called me afterwards and separately and was like, hey, I'm very concerned about you, your mental and physical well-being going into this camp. And that I don't know if it's the best option for you. And my doctor was already, the hematologist was like, I can't tell you no. I don't think it's a great idea. But I was going to just try to push through, because that's always what I've done, is just try to push through. And this is, like, such a big opportunity. Coming home, feeling so horrible. I hadn't slept very well, like, all week, because I've been in so much pain, and I'm supposed to be taking ibuprofen, but I'm not tolerating ibuprofen very much anymore, because I've been on so much ibuprofen, because that was the first line of defense on heavy period. Having my 2 best friends call me, who have seen me go through so much the last couple years, and, like, especially my one friend who's always like, you look great, you're doing great, you're glowing, all that stuff, even when I feel really bad, and it's, like, my biggest cheerleader. I know when things are serious, when they're like, I think you need to slow down, I think you need to, like, take a break, I think you need to honor what your body is. And the funny thing is like, I was thinking when we were having that conversation of talking to one of my friends who has a disability, who's also in academics. The last time I had, like, a big heart-to-heart with them, they were like, you need to slow down. You cannot be the grad student that everyone else can be. And if you try, you will burn yourself out. You will make yourself sick. You will not be able to finish this. And finishing your program is so important to you that it's more important to invest in yourself and your well-being, to make sure that you're also investing in your education. And it's just, like, that tension all the time of like, writing all these radical things about honoring your body and honoring your needs. And I have been called out by my participants. I've done research where I get to interview people, adults, about their experiences. And during my last rounds of data collection, I had, like, 2 to 3 people just, like, call me out on some stuff based off of, like, a little tiny comment I made. And they're like, you need to have people in your life who are going to support you, and you need to have, like, let people in your life support you and take care of you and all of these things. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about being a disabled person doing research, is trying to, like, shift that relationship of, like, yes, I'm a researcher, and there's that obligation of a researcher, but I am also a disabled person. I am interviewing my family, essentially my community. These are people that I have an obligation to as a community member. These are also people that I am part of their family. And I think one of the things that I've written about this in a piece that I've been trying to get published is what happens sometimes when I get too far in this academic space, that I try to tease out the tension of, like, well, I am disabled through my academic experience, that like this is how my academic identity shows up, and it makes me create distance from all of the physical elements of my disability. And when I do that, then not only am I like not honoring my physical needs, but I am also on top of it kind of dishonoring the relationship that I can potentially have with my participants, because I'm one of like the best parts of my research is the fact that I'm not just some random person off the side, the street or scholar who's like, you know what, I think disability is my special interest of the day. This has been my passion for years. I have years of education, years of interviews that I have done, and relationships that I have built and been called out on. And that part of that relationship is remembering that I am a member of this community. And if I'm going to be preaching one thing, then I need to be living it in my own life. And I think that was particularly hard thinking about going into this project, because I was very excited about not only getting to do the research and collecting the data, but the fact that I am a wheelchair user going to this camp with kids who have a variety of mobility aids, a variety of health conditions. And I just thought also of like, as part of my preparation and what I wrote for my advisors, like, I'm going to be honest, if kids ask me about my career, if they ask me about my life, like in a child appropriate way, but there was so many questions I had as a kid that I didn't have an adult that I could see and be like, yes, this person is like me and they're having a career and they're doing these things and they have a relationship. And like, I didn't have very many role models, and it would have meant so much to me at like camp age to be able to see someone, and like not only see someone, but see someone interested in our community and see like, oh, this is a community of people and they're people that I can learn from. Not that I'm necessarily teaching, but I've always had that experience with like, especially teenage disabled people, of like, I've had these beautiful connections of like talking to terminally or critically ill kids and teenagers about my tattoos, and there's so much of like resonance because I have been there, and I'm not on the other side. There is no other side to this because I have a progressive condition. This thing is going to continue to get harder as I get older, but also with it getting harder is I'm growing into it, and I'm more equipped to handle the challenges that I face. And this is devastating, like truly devastating, to see so much of my work kind of what feels like going down the drain. And it's not that it goes down the drain, but like this means I won't have a data set going into this fall. And I just have to like change some of my plans and my timeline there. It also means that I have to figure out what's going on with the grants and how I'm going to pay them back, because I used the grant for paying for the flight, and I got credit, but I can't give credit back to the grant. And I potentially ruined my relationship with this organization. I'm still waiting on them to get back to me to recognize that I said I can't go anymore, and they spent money for me to be able to go. And I'm just like, there are going to be consequences to this, social consequences, potentially financial consequences. And that's really hard. That's really hard, because that's the thing about like honoring what you need and like living in CRIP practices, that it's not like fault free. It's not consequence free. There are consequences to having to make these decisions. But also at the same time, how can I be someone who says that they study CRIP theory, who says that they believe in people caring for themselves and all of this stuff, and then go and be so visibly ill in front of these kids in a way that's not just like, oh, I'm sick in general, but like I'm making myself sick by being here and being in the heat and doing all these things. So the other night I decided to pull the plug, and I've been trying to take the last couple days to rest. I am very lucky. I also keep thinking about like how lucky I am to be able to handle all of this, because it is community. And that's the other thing about disability justice, is that there's a key component is interdependence. And it is because of my friends who were able to have hard conversations with me, and it's because of my boyfriend who's been there this whole summer, who's like driven an hour and a half or an hour to bring me Sprite and flowers on a really, really, really bad day. And like, he helped me make my bed and he helped me tidy up, and having an advisor who has just been running with the punches with me and been so supportive and so encouraging. And especially since I'm about to like start my comprehensive exams, that has been one of my big anxieties, is dealing with all of this with my comprehensive exams. I have my parents, my mom helped me kind of come up with what to say. My stepdad called me to tell me that he's always going to be proud of me. And it's just having these people in my life, the friend I was going to stay with when I went to the camp on my way, is just like so supportive. And like, this is my community of people that are around me who love me and care for me and who are there to step up for me, that I have been so scared to ask for that support. And it's like, there's the physical support, but also like the emotional support in all of this. And I feel like all summer I've been just going back and forth between like, I'm not having a good time, I'm really struggling, and I feel horrible, and this has been a horrible summer. And also at the same time trying to be like, at least I have the summer to be sick and I have a job that lets me do this, because if I was still working at Disney, then I'd be in so much more trouble. I'd probably have to take a medical leave of absence. And so thankfully I'm sick, but I'm getting paid and I'm getting to do my job. And I just, there's so many things that I am truly grateful for in all of this, but it doesn't take away how hard and devastating it is. It doesn't take away how frustrated I am with my body. It doesn't take away how angry I am that things turned out this way. I don't have the answers. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with the grant. I don't know what's going to happen with my relationship with this organization. I don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. I told a lot of people about this project. It was like my little, this is a project that I'm working on. I'm very proud of. People were very impressed for multiple reasons, that I was able to get approval, and I have this relationship, and I was able to do all of these things, and it was going to be such a great builder, because I'm going on the job market in the next year, not this coming year, but the next, and having that on my resume. And like, I've been struggling trying to get published. So this was like, I thought gonna help, but I am trying to be patient with myself. I'm trying to give myself rest. I am trying to remember that it is my membership in this community, the full membership, the ugly, the sick, the wonderful connections with other people, the interdependence, the solidarity, all of it, that makes me so proud to be a disabled person and to really feel loved in a crip way. I think making this decision, if anything, made me feel very loved, because the people around me has been so supportive, even though I am so scared of being seen as a bad investment in the long run. Of, you set up this really cool research and then not being able to follow through. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the thing. That's been what's going on. I want to make more videos about my life, I guess. I'm going to do some vlogging, maybe. It's hard of like trying to balance, like, I'm a big advocate for medical privacy. And so when I go through medical stuff, it's just like, I don't want to tell people. I don't want to tell YouTube. I don't want anything to get back to people, to have them question my ability to be in school or work or do anything. But at the same time, I really think that it would help if I saw more people trying to, like, not just like on the other side of it. That's why I wanted to make the video now, not later. But see people going through it, because I am part of it. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I feel so ashamed. I am embarrassed and I am ashamed, and I am trying so hard not to. And I think talking about it kind of is forcing me to face the stigma, that the ways that I'm stigmatizing myself and my decisions, and that you can't be ashamed of something that you tell everyone on the internet. So If you have any advice, let me know. We don't have the answers. All of us on social media who talk to people and about our experiences, we don't have all the answers. We're trying to figure them out the best we can. Just taking things day by day. I don't have this big lesson for you guys. I just have the lessons that I'm learning right now, and that is trying to live Cripply as much as I write about Crip experiences.